Clemson fans are divided. Is this program in a gradual decline or just in a rough patch? We'll talk about it right here on Locked on Clemson.
You are Locked on Clemson, your daily podcast on the Clemson Tigers. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's up, Tiger fans? Morgan Thomas here, Clemson fan, Clemson grad, host and producer of Locked on Clemson, part-time host and producer over on 105.5 FM The Roar. Thank you so much for making Locked on Clemson your first listen of the day. We're part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. And if you're new to the show, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button so you never miss an episode. And shout out to the everydayers. You know how we do it here, Monday through Friday, every single week. Exclusive Clemson content right here for you. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Right now, new customers can bet just $5. And if your bet wins, you'll get $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. Download the FanDuel app today. And Clemson fans are going back and forth right now on whether or not the program is in a gradual decline or if it is just a rough patch that they have to get through. And a lot of it has to do with what the numbers say, but then also a lot of it has to do with what the eye test says and how you really feel about the team and what's happening. In the last 5 years, Clemson football has gone from, a team that we hoped would be playing in many national titles to come and would just continue to bank on their successes to now trying to really just stay above water this season, but try to get into the playoffs and stay relevant in the past couple of seasons. So some say that this is just a rough patch. This is just a plateau, and the team will rebound and reset. While others say that they feel this is more of a steady decline or even a fall off the cliff. And I'm going to tell you what I think about the team and why I think that. When you look at a high-level view of it, total wins and final rankings are pretty equal. 3 losses, 4 losses here or there the last couple of years, 9 wins or more. We kind of joked back when Dabo would always seem to win 10 games. He'd say, we keep winning 10 games. You keep complaining, but we keep winning. We're a team. We've won more 10-game seasons than blah, 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 and all this stuff. And then when they only won 9 games, he changed it and said, well, you keep telling us we're on a decline, but we're the most 9-win season team ever, and it's like, okay, you just moved the goalpost on us a little bit. You used to brag about being a 10-win or better team. Now you're bragging about only being a 9-win or better team. Is 2025 the year where you brag about being an 8-win or better team, or maybe a 7-win or better team? If you look at it, the past couple of years, 3 losses, 4 losses, 9, 10, 11 wins, give or take, it's all seems pretty even and pretty flat. You look at their rankings, where they finished out, they're still in the top 25, but not in the top 10. So, still pretty flat on paper. But when you dive into it and you think about it a little bit further, do you actually feel like this team is staying the same and they're not, going up or down? I don't think anybody would argue that this team is going up right now. And I think really when you look at 2025 could be hurting Clemson the most, because at the end of 2024, you walked away from that season thinking, all right, this team competed against Texas. We never thought they would win against Texas. It was a home game in Austin and a playoff game against one of the better teams in the country. So nobody really felt like they were going to go in there and win that game, but at least they fought. And they were really, when you look at compared to the other first round playoff teams that had to play away games, true away games, which I love, by the way, they did really put up a fight, compared to most. So I liked that about Clemson, and I liked all the returning players that they were getting. So when you look at 2024, post 2024, you were thinking pretty high on this team. We were all thinking very, very high on this team until really this season started. And then it really is declined. And the biggest thing is that they're at 3 losses, which is almost, is right there next to the 4 losses that they had last season or 2023. And then they're already equal to the amount of losses they had in 2021 and 2022. So the losses have stacked up very early, and we're not even, as of recording this, not even in October yet. So that's a concern, is that this team's already kind of spent all of their mulligans at this point, and they have to play even better than we expected and go undefeated for the rest of the season just to salvage a 9-win season. When you look at teamrankings.com and the statistics on what kind of wins they can do, 9-3 is actually not statistically a possibility, even though we know it is, but it is not a very high possibility for the Clemson team at all. So, to say that they would win out, you're got to be pretty much on the I'm a blind sunshine pumper in this era right now, and at this part of the season. 8-4, which is where I was at, you'd probably argue with me that that's more on the tail and the bottom, the right side of the curve. So, there's not a high probability that would happen. 8-4 would be difficult. You only lose one more game with this many games left would be difficult to do with 8 games to go. And then really more realistically, the expectation, according to the statistics in the top of the bell curve, in the middle of the bell curve, or the mean, if you will, it's been so long since I've been in math, I don't remember, but the middle of it, right? the highest chance of probability is 6-6, according to teamrankings.com. That is not what you want to hear at all, because that would be, I think, for a Clemson fan standpoint, would be falling off the cliff. Dabo's really only had one season that bad in 15 years. So that's pretty tough. I guess not 15 years as a head coach, but well, yeah, I guess so. But yeah, so I mean, it's one of those things where Clemson has put themselves in a tough spot. But I would say when you look at more recently, not just overall, we're arguing over overalls here. We're arguing over rankings here. And the thing is, what is the quality trend that you're seeing? Ranked wins versus Power 4 opponents, 1-8 overall versus non-conference Power 4 teams with 8 or more wins since 2001. So they're not doing well against teams that are actually good teams in the Power 4. Their win rate versus ranked opponents has dropped drastically. They haven't been doing well at all at the beginning of the season, at the end of the season. Any of their big games, they're hurting. So the dominance that we used to see with a Dabo Swinney led team, what was one thing that you always felt very confident with a Dabo team, is that they were going to look like they belonged against some of the better teams. Now, every now and then Dabo gets embarrassed. Yeah. But he usually tries to avoid that at all costs. But it seems like 2025, he's had multiple games where it's been kind of an embarrassment. And you could say, well, there were close wins or whatever. But to me, the eye test and what really we saw on the field is not that. It doesn't seem like a team that really knows what they're doing. And the concern is you're losing a lot of players. So next season's going to be a big, huge question mark. And likely, if it goes the way I predict, going to be a lot of transfer portal players to try to reset this team. Clemson hasn't fallen off like a Florida State, even though people label them the Florida State of 2025. But it is clearly trending downward. And how quickly or how fast just depends on really if this team can actually reset immediately in 2025. Speaking of reset, they got to start it with the games on the slate, and that comes up with the Tar Heels coming up this weekend. We'll talk about some players to watch for North Carolina right here on Locked On Clemson. Caffeine just got a flavor upgrade. 5-hour energy shots deliver tasty caffeine in 17 bold flavors. Each 2-ounce shot packs the caffeine of a premium 12-ounce cup of coffee, plus B vitamins and nutrients with zero sugar and zero crash. What makes them stand out is how portable they are. Big taste, tiny shot. You can take it anywhere and get that shot quick boost right when you need it. Choose from 17 bold flavors, from berry to even a tropical burst. Each shot delivers the caffeine and nutrients and B vitamins in a sugar-free compact size, so you can take it wherever you want. It's perfect for commutes, perfect for your workouts, perfect for those long flights to wherever you want to go. Enough with the boring, flavorless caffeine. It's time to give your caffeine that flavor upgrade with 5-hour energy shots. Get the favorites you love, or be bold and try something new in store or online at www.5hourenergy.com or on Amazon today. Coming up, the Clemson Tigers are playing the North Carolina Tar Heels, and they may be 2-2, but they do have some players that we should look at. And, I want you to be the most informed Clemson fan out there. And if you're going to be that, then you got to think about what players they have that could possibly pose a threat for Clemson, this weekend. 2-2, they really haven't done good against any team with any kind of pulse. UCF, they lost really bad. TCU, they lost really bad. And in the two games that they've won, Richmond and Charlotte, are not what you would say is the competition that they'll play against Clemson, even though we really don't know what to count on with the Tigers right now at all. But they do have some players that we should look out for and that could hurt Clemson this weekend. If Clemson loses this game, then the question that I posed before about declining should no longer be a question. I mean, if they lose this game, then this season is a complete nightmare, disaster, implosion, a wreck. Basically, you need to clear house because this team is not salvageable if they continue to lose ACC games back to back to back, especially after a long break like this one. The Clemson Tigers should be ready for this game, as ready as possible to reset. You would expect that they would be able to reset, and this would be a game where they could put up a lot of points and put up a lot of yards, but you just never know with this team. They are consistently inconsistent. So we have to look at who they have to face against. And kind of when you look at, well, how does the team shape up? Gio Lopez, he's their quarterback. I really like him because he's left-handed. So it kind of gives you a little bit of a different look, based on the different angles that he'll be throwing. So that could throw your defense off. I mean, right now, how much trust do you have in Clemson's defense to not let that be a factor? I mean, just simply being left-handed could be something that throws Clemson for a loop. You're just not used to having to face off against a quarterback like that. Dual threat guy can really extend plays when he needs to, and create chunk plays when he needs to as well. Again, not a bad quarterback by any means. Just somebody who does have some talent and will be trying to test that Clemson defense in those one-on-ones. So if they can keep him upright and give him time to look around, then, he could exploit and create some bigger chunk plays against Clemson. So that's really the first thing is, what will he be able to do against the Clemson Tigers? He was a pretty good ranked quarterback out there, according to 24/7 Sports. He was also one of the better quarterbacks in his state of Alabama. So, one of those guys that, could be a factor against Clemson. Now, who is he going to be throwing the ball to? Well, to me, I like one guy that you should look at, and that's Jordan Shipp. He's really their most reliable guy, and he can kind of he's got a little bit of speed on him, and he got 2 touchdowns against Richmond, and he can really kind of stress out Clemson's secondary. So if you think about a third down go-to guy, that's who I'm looking at for the Tar Heels in Jordan Shipp. On offense as well, they have Juju June or Damon Juju June. He's a freshman running back. So the cool thing is when you look at their offense, it's really interesting because they have a ton of transfer players, right? They have basically almost their entire offensive line is full of transfer players and their backup offensive line. So, the first and second string of offensive line, I think, is out of 10 players, you're looking at 2 are not transfer portal players. So their offensive line is completely revamped. Really, where they don't have a ton of transfers is in their wide receivers and their running backs. So that's where they're going to lean on as far as their outside or their outside attack. Freshman running back June is going to have, to me, he's going to be able to have a lot of opportunities. He had a 148-yard game against Richmond. Again, you can't really look at the other games that he's played against more those FBS type opponents because they don't really do that well. So if there's anything that's boding, on a positive for Clemson, is that the Tar Heels have had not very good success against teams that are actually, should be at their level. And so Clemson should be that and more. It really just depends on what Clemson shows up. So to me, they're going to try to attack you to the outside, and they're not going to be afraid to kind of have a balanced offense against you. So I'm curious to see what will happen Saturday from offense versus defense, because Clemson's defense really, they started off strong, but they've been hurt the past couple of games, and they haven't looked as strong, as they did from the start. And then on the defensive side of the ball, to me, I've seen a lot from Will Hardy. He's a smart, versatile guy. He could limit some of the explosive plays because he's the senior. He's not a transfer portal guy. He's number 31. He's a strong safety, but can play some nickel. And he'll kind of be that blanket over the deep ball as well. So he could force Cade Klubnik into making some mistakes. And, Cade has been, really prone to making some mistakes this year. And then you have Mekhi Bayer, number 4 on the team. He is a leader on the defense. He had a 62-yard fumble return for a touchdown. Transfer from Missouri, spent the spring with Missouri and then transferred over to North Carolina. Also a 2-time transfer graduate student that came from Nebraska, but a longtime starter. So he has a lot of experience and will be key to trying to stop Clemson's run game. And as I mentioned to you, I believe that Clemson needs to be very purposeful with their run game. So how successful Bayer will be versus Adam Randall will be a big deal. So we'll see how that all shakes out. UNC will be trying to establish the run themselves. I think to run hard with June early, and then to set up the play action to guys like Ship on the outside, and then other guys like Green and Culliver as well. So to me, that's where I think, the Tar Heels will attack them. Bayer and Hardy will be some of those guys that I could see trying to get turnovers against Clemson. So that's where the top guys are looking at right now for the Tigers. So if Clemson can handle those 5 guys, then I could see where the Tigers could come out with a win. Right now, Vegas has Clemson at a 13.5 favorite. Are you taking Clemson 13.5? I got to say, probably not. This would be a team where you would want to take that. It makes sense to do that because the Tar Heels just really haven't had success. 34-9 against Central Florida, 48-14 against TCU. So really 3 field goals against UCF and two touchdowns against TCU. So they really haven't been scoring very well against teams that are at their level. Now, there will be a home game, and it's supposed to be overcast, 68 degrees at lunchtime on Saturday. But the ESPN matchup predictor has them at 77.5% chance of winning the game for Clemson. So that would put Clemson at 2-3 overall, and the Tar Heels also at 2-3 overall. Get Clemson their first ACC win of the year. To me, though, like I said, I think this should be a game where Clemson's defense shines brightly. I could see where they really are able to shut down anything that the Tar Heels are able to do. That'll be my hope anyways. Can we get that consistently? Hard to say. But to me, this should be a game where Clemson by far has the better offense. They by far have the better defense. So to me, this might be one where I lean against the Tar Heels and I don't pick the spread. You would never pick the Tar Heels straight up. I think you'd be crazy if you pick the Tar Heels straight up in this game. If you picked them with the spread, I also think you'd be a little bit crazy. This should be the game where Clemson resets. Now, I'll say that to say this. If you're a Clemson fan and they walk away from this game doing well, you should still be skeptical at the end of the day because this is a bad team that you should beat up by a lot. So if it's a close game, that's a problem. If it's a close win, that's a problem. If it's just, not covering the spread, that's a problem. They need to cover the spread, really win this game and show what they can do and show what they've kind of reset in after the bye week as well. If they want fans to take them seriously, they've got to take this game seriously and come out strong. Don't come out lethargic and slow like they have been. Come out strong, come out confident and positive, and put points up on the board regularly throughout the game. All right, we're going to finish up the episode talking about the new viral trend that's going around X and other social media posts about the white Tiger uniform. I'll tell you what I think about it right here on Locked On Clemson. When you're running a business, every missed call is money left on the table. That's why I'm excited about Quo, formerly known as Open Phone. This same great business phone system you've heard me talk about before, just with a new name. And here's why that matters. Every customer conversation counts, and Quo keeps you connected 24/7 so no opportunity slips through the cracks. Quo is the #1 business phone system for streamlining customer communications. It works right through an app on your phone or your computer, so no more carrying around two phones or relying on a chunky landline. I love Quo because it's how your team can share more than one number and collaborate on calls and texts, just like a shared inbox. That way, no customer gets left waiting because you know customers hate waiting. See why over 90,000 businesses trust Quo. Formerly Open Phone. Get started free and take 20% off your first 6 months at quo.com/lockedoncollege. That's QUO.com/lockedoncollege. And if you've got numbers with another service, Quo will even port them over, and that'll be no extra charge. Quo, no missed calls, no missed customers. This episode is also brought to you by FanDuel. The NFL season is here, and FanDuel has an offer for you that you don't want to miss. Right now, new customers can bet just $5 and get $300 in bonus bets if you win. That's right. Pick a bet, put down $5, and if it hits, you'll unlock $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. I love how FanDuel gives me so many ways to play. I've told you about building in some of the fun same-game parlays, player prop bets, and even followed it up with live lines during the games. It really takes game day to another level, and that excitement is always there. So if you're a casual fan, get in on it. You can have some fun. If you're a diehard and you really know how to what your teams are and what the players are expected to do, you can get in there and you can do really well. So what are you waiting for? Visit FanDuel.com and go to download FanDuel app today and get started. That's FanDuel.com, where you can turn your football knowledge into bonus bets and make this NFL season even more thrilling. It's 2025, okay? The portal is here to stay. It's free agent market. Do I like the way it's ran? No. Do I want some things to change? Yes. But it's changed college football forever. NIL is here to stay. Now, do I like the way it's ran? No. Do I want it to change? Yes. Do I think it should still be around? Yes. So I think the portal should stay around. The free agent market is what I like to call it. And then, and if the portal stays around, can we stop every game we play? Everybody says every show, every game, it's like, oh well, this guy he was formerly this team. Oh well, that guy just made a tackle. He was formerly this team. Nobody cares anymore. Like I don't care how many formerly this player's teams he was on. But anyways, the NIL has changed for sure, changed the game for sure. So, I like what they've done with the game, at least with being able to allow the players to benefit from the success that they have. Do I like how it's ran? No, I don't, but they can make some tweaks to make it better for sure. One thing that some people like tradition, some people like the past and consistency, while others would rather say, hey, just like the portal and the NIL has changed college football, I'd like to see this change for Clemson. And that is the uniform. Now, overall, I've not been a big fan of changing the uniform, but because I do like what Dabo has done. Now Clemson has changed its uniform over the years, but Dabo kind of got a uniform that he really likes and that I think we all agree that we like. And he's stuck with it. So I like that. I want to keep the stripes the way they are, to keep the overall vibe of it. But I got to tell you something. The white tiger helmet, you may have seen it over on X. You may have seen it on social media, but I'm loving it. Honestly, I talked about buying another helmet for the backdrop on my YouTube channel here. You can see I have the traditional helmet back there. And that is a real helmet, by the way. I found it from a guy on Instagram, and he made it for me. So not from the the team itself, but I think that Clemson should embrace the white helmet. It's going to be, just imagine this, an all white helmet, all white uniform. That's really only where I'd want to see it, is when you're wearing an all white uniform. So it would be the all white uniform combo, the white tiger uniform, if you will. So you would have a white helmet base with a orange tiger paw and then orange stripes. So you would really lose the purple stripes that you traditionally have. So I don't necessarily like losing the purple stripes, but to me, the orange stripes just make it look even better. So you're losing some of the purple, but really Clemson's main color is orange anyways, right? So I like the white tiger helmet. I think it adds a little bit of excitement to the team. I mean, Clemson's already kind of unique in the fact that they have a all purple combination that they wear as well. And I did like the purple and white combo that they did versus Georgia Tech, even though it didn't win. But I'm not saying that I want Clemson to be Nike or, Maryland and Oregon. I'm not saying that at all, right? But there is a little bit of fan appeal, a little bit of recruiting appeal when your helmet combinations can be a little bit varied. And it kind of hypes you up a little bit for certain games and excites you for certain times. To me, I like the military appreciation tie in with the purple. I think that's a great thing. But also, I think if you get like a road matchup that is a ranked game, a ranked road matchup, maybe you go with the white tiger. I like it. I mean, could it help with recruiting? Probably. The way young players are now, they like variety. They like a little bit of flair, like a little bit of extra. It doesn't replace tradition. To me, the orange helmet stays, you're consistent. The one you're going to get, you got 12 games, right? It's the one you're going to get most of those games. Really, all but one. I'm just talking about one road game where you bring out the white tiger, and there is actually such thing as a white tiger. So we keep, it would add to the, marketing appeal, because you could use those types of tigers in your in your graphics, right? Basketball already has multiple sets. I mean, heck, basketball has gray. Softball has dark gray, like charcoal gray. And that's not a color at all. I mean, it is technically if you go look at the color palette on the website. They do have a gray, if you will, for Clemson. I'm trying to think what it actually is. It's College Avenue gray. Yeah. Yeah. So you could do Howard's Rock gray. You could do Innovation gray. That's more for business, I guess, or engineering. But then the College Avenue gray is, so I guess technically, their gray is part of it. But to me, I like the white. I like the white, honestly, more than the gray. You're going to have a gray uniform more than you have all white. The white Tiger, think about it. I mean, the all whites already pop on TV. The all white uniforms already pop on TV really nicely. I think they would pop even more with the helmet added in too. And I'm going to save up some money. It costs a couple $100 to get a helmet that's custom made. That's a Deshaun Watson helmet back there. At least the way I had him make it. So it has number 4 on it. Or you could say it's a Steve Fuller helmet. But we all know it's not. But I would say you could say, I could save up and then put it on the opposite side, although I like my little plushy tiger back there. So I think it would be a great thing for recruiting photos, for television, for big games. I don't think it loses identity at all. If anything, it adds to the aura, Clemson could be wouldn't need to aura farm because you would have this helmet. The tradition does kind of evolve, I mean, things the way they used to be when I was a little kid aren't really the same today, right? I mean, things change a little bit. At some point, you do want to keep tradition. You do want to have some non-negotiables, right? And I think Clemson has enough of those non-negotiables. I mean, look at the CJ Spiller jersey behind me. If you're on YouTube, you can see it. I mean, Clemson doesn't do that uniform anymore. And I liked that uniform back when they did it, but now I kind of like the one they have now, right? So the uniform actually has evolved and changed. The helmet hasn't, at least for many, 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 many years. But what do you think? Is it just too much to talk about? Too much distraction? I mean, maybe you shouldn't do it in a team. Maybe you should have done it when the team was winning a bunch of games. Then it wouldn't be a distraction at all, right? Now that they're, 3 losses, it could be a distraction. I mean, I guess you could probably argue that. All right. Hey, thank you so much for making Locked On Clemson your first listen of the day. I really appreciate everyone getting in and being a part of the show, as you always do to those everydayers out there. Another big moment here on Locked On as well. College football fans, Locked On and Fire TV present College Football Kickoff, your ultimate college football weekly preview show. Drake Toll of Locked On Big 12. He does a great job over there. Leads the conversation, a long-time two-time AP Coach of the Year, Gary Patterson, former college star Jesse Holley, and Locked On's local experts, a college football preview only Locked On can do. Catch College Football Kickoff every Thursday throughout the season, only on Fire TV. And as always, Tiger fans, hey, that's it for today's show. We'll see you tomorrow, and we'll see you at the top of the hill.